Welcome to the Holidays to Switzerland Travel Podcast. Your host is the founder of holidaysto-switzerland.com and the Switzerland Travel Planning Facebook group, Carolyn Schonefinger. On this podcast, Carolyn will be joined by a variety of guests who share their knowledge and love of the country to help you plan your dream trip to Switzerland.
Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the Holidays to Switzerland Travel Podcast. This is the place to be if you are planning a trip to Switzerland, if you enjoy reminiscing about past trips to Switzerland, are looking for a new destination to visit on an upcoming trip, or you just like learning more about other countries. In upcoming episodes, my guests and I will be sharing our Switzerland travel tips, destination ideas and things to do, including those incredible mountain excursions, discussing food. Of course, Swiss chocolate and cheese will be covered, and we'll be talking about Swiss culture and customs and much more. In today's episode, I thought I'd share how an Australian like me fell in love with Switzerland. Well, it all started over 30 years ago. My first job out of school was as a travel agent. I was thrown in at the deep end, and suddenly I was booking trips for clients to travel all around the world. One of the most frequent requests was for younger people who wanted to book Kentucky tours in Europe. Over the years, I booked many clients on Kentucky tours, and they all came back raving about it. So when my boyfriend, who's now my husband of over 30 years, and I decided to visit Europe, of course, we had to do a Kentucky tour so I could see what it was all about. The trip was full on. It visited about 7 countries in 14 days, was up early, was late to bed at night, and we were just on the go all the day. But the one thing that really stuck in my mind about this trip was the little village in Switzerland called Lauterbrunnen. The minute the coach drove into the village, I was just in awe. With massive cliffs on each side, you drive in and there's just waterfalls everywhere, and I was just besotted. Over the years, we've done over a dozen trips to Switzerland, and we've returned to Lauterbrunnen time and time again. I've travelled with my husband, with our family when our boys were younger and still living at home, with friends, and then we had a really special trip in 2013 when my parents joined my husband and I and our 2 boys, and we all visited Lauterbrunnen together. It was really great to be able to share this with my parents, who'd heard us talk about Lauterbrunnen, or in fact rave about it, for so many years. They could finally see where this little mystery place was that we'd been talking about, and of course they appreciated why we'd all fallen in love with it so much. There's so much more I could tell you about Switzerland. I just absolutely adore it, and I could talk about it all day. But the one thing that I particularly love when I visit Switzerland is staying in the small villages, waking up each morning to views of a snow-capped mountain or a crystal clear lake. Honestly, the scenery just never fails to take my breath away. And speaking of scenery, here's a couple of things you may not know. In Switzerland, there are over 48 mountain peaks that are over 4,000 metres high. That's more than in any country in all of Europe. And there are also over 1,500 lakes in Switzerland. And wherever you are in the country, you are never more than 16 kilometres from a lake. So there's definitely no excuse not to visit a lake. And all this in a country that is only 350 kilometres from east to west, and about 200 kilometres from north to south. As you can see, there's a whole lot packed into a small area, and it's all incredibly beautiful. I really hope I've inspired you to start planning your own trip to Switzerland. Make sure you visit my website, holidaysto-switzerland.com/podcast, where you'll find show notes about this episode, including links to all the different ways where you can stay in touch. I've got a private Switzerland travel planning Facebook group, which is an awesome spot to ask questions and chat with other wannabe travellers and those who've already visited Switzerland. And you can also sign up for my monthly newsletter to receive travel tips, inspiration, news, and special deals. Until next time, Stay safe and thanks for listening.